And yeah. Yeah. Mm, just waiting for a couple people. Close my door. They're just waiting for a couple people to join in. Join in. At the moment, there are only 16 people, but there should be in few minutes, maybe one. I don't know. I haven't checked the the attendance much. I mean, honestly, I don't really care who's racing. But yeah, today is Bahrain. The track is. Wait, I need to get the informations of the track. mm, to get not here. Bahrain. So Bahrain in length is 5.4 kilometers. First Grand Prix was hosted in 2004, and at that time it was on daytime hosted till 2002 was hosted on daytime, but then after 2000 and 2004 it was decided that it's gonna be hosted on at nighttime. Um, Number of laps on 100% is 57, but since we are driving a 50%, which means it's half of the race distance, it's gonna be 29, which doesn't quite add up, but alright. Lap record around the Bahrain circuit, it's in the race, it's 1 minute 31.447 set by Pedro de la Rosa in 2005. I believe that was in the McLaren, I believe. Um, and the circuit has 15 corners, um, and probably the best overtaking opportunities are turn 1, turn 4, turn 11, and if you want to really go for a launch, then turn 14 on the last lap. Turn 8 as well is pretty okay place, but well, it's a good place to overtake as well, but not maybe the favorite to place to overtake. Um, as some people just, um, I mean, I don't even know myself. And there are three DRS zones. First on the start finish straight, then then the after the first three corners and going from third corner to fourth corner, there's a DRS zone where you can as well overtake, and then as well in the sector 2 the back straight between turns 10 and 11. So there are pretty good overtaking opportunities. Um, and yeah, and it is in Bahrain, in Middle East. And if you somehow didn't watch or don't have clue about the last race was hosted in Brazil, Sao Paulo, and there the winner was Reggie, who as well won the championship, drivers championship, and as well Red Bull secured their constructors championship. So both championships are basically, well, for the winners it's basically over. Um, but there's still fight for second place between Ferrari and Alpine. That is in the constructors, Ferrari and Alpine. Ferrari with 298 points and Alpine 261 points. So that's about 30. Again, I can't do math. 98 minus 261. It's 37 points between them. Then there is a fight for fourth between McLaren and Mercedes. McLaren with 5 points ahead of Mercedes. Then there is you could kind of as well fight for sixth place in the constructors between AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin, with AlphaTauri having 93 points, Alfa Romeo 90, and Aston Martin 83. So that's from AlphaTauri to Aston Martin. There's only 10 points, and Alfa Romeo pretty closely to AlphaTauri, only three points between them. And you could kind of say as well it's a bit as well between Williams and Haas with for ninth. Williams have 40 points and Haas only 30. So Haas on the last place in the constructors. In drivers, there's as well. Um, I don't know. Well, Noise with his performances, he was gonna continue really good performances. He's gonna get the second place, but there's as well a fight for third place in the drivers' standings between Shaza and Coke. Uh, they're Shaza ahead of Coke, but only 1 point between them. As well, maybe Matt could join there if he gets a really good result in Bahrain, and Shaza and Coke just really mess up the race. Um, and as well, no, this race is there's no sprint race. Um, that's good, somewhat. Um, and as well, um, and well, if Matt doesn't catch up to Shaza and Coke, then it's probably a bit between him and Tur. There's maybe as well a bit of a fight between Hennessy and Lamas. Only 7 points between them. Hennessy having 97 points and Lamas 90. And as well maybe a bit between Volta and Gravity. With Volta having 11 points more than Gravity. Then you could kind of say that there's a bit of fight between Ultra or F1 Lewis R. Then Lewis, the other one, the other Lewis, Lewis 4. Then Diego and as well Speed, with Ultra having 17 points, Lewis 16 points, Diego 14 points, and Speed 11 points. Two Only two drivers are yet to score points, and it's Venom and High. High had if I remember right, he has been in the races pretty consistently since I came here commentating, but just didn't have the best races. Um, there's as well a bit of reserves. Some it's um, it's Stack. Well, basically these people who don't have teams right now. I think Bobby as well is a reserve, if I remember right. Um, and I need to change the lineup. So for Red Bull, it should be as always Reggie and Shazza, which it is. For Ferrari, it should be Matt and Coke, but well, Matt is in here, but Coke apparently he can't make it. Um, then it is then Mercedes should be Volta and Tur, and only Tur is in here, and Pete is in the Mercedes. Uh, Luca or Lamas and Luke in the McLarens, and it's only Luke from the main drivers in the McLaren. Bobby is in the McLaren, switch to McLaren. Then Noise and Lewis in the Alpines, and it doesn't right now look like it. There's only Noise, but it doesn't look like no. There's Hybe in the Alpine, so that's very good for him if he wants to get points. There's a good opportunity for him. Then for Ferrari there's Webster. Patino is spectating apparently. For Alfa Romeo should be Jovi and Speed, and or basically I think no. Well, there is I think no, not none of the no. Okay, there is Jovi. There is Jovi, but the Alfa Romeo seat is but the second Alfa Romeo seat is free. In the AHA should be Diego and Carlston. Well, there is Diego in the Haas, but there is Niklas who's in the Haas. I don't know if he's a reserve. Uh, then there should be BB8, Dog, and Gravidia in the Alpha Tauri, and none of them are racing today. It's Jogger and Stack in the Alpha Tauris. In the Aston Martins should be F1 Lewis R and Venom, but it looks like only F1 Lewis R is in here. Liziri is reserving for Aston Martin, and for Williams should be High and Hennessy or Kravitz. And as of look like High is in here, but Kravitz is not here, as drivers are meant to ready up pretty much now. 12 minutes of delay, but I still I have still some time between my other league race, which is a good amount or a safe amount. Um, but drivers are preparing for qualifying one. Who's this actually qualifying one? First part of qualifying in Bahrain. Um, for me at least, I find the most trickiest part around this circuit is probably his cars 20 has returned. What was he? Uh, I don't know. I don't know some of these people, so and I'm still kind of new to this league. So if I don't know some of these people who are joining, then it's probably a reserve. But there are only, as of right now, 19 people. Patino went into an Alfa Romeo last minute. Um, um, as we see a Mercedes of Clapped Pete preparing to leave his garage. Let me just put these on. As he's the first rider to got out of his garage, and if well, he is the first one out of the pit lane onto the racetrack. Behind them there is Lewis. Behind him there is Lewis. Then behind him there is the other Mercedes of Tur, and then behind Tur there is Niklas, then Lewis or Respawn. And this is the part what I was meant to talk about, the probably trickiest part of the track. Well, if you're driving without any traction control, then it is. But if you're driving with medium traction, or full traction, if someone is actually racing in here with that, then it's not really a hard place. It's not really a hard place. But then the others maybe like turn the S's, the turns 5, 6, and 7, and maybe with without ABS users, then the turn 10, or basically when you're going, there's a really good chance that you can lock up the. It's pretty easy to lock up the. For the first times, you just have to manage it. But as Pete is gonna start the first flying lap of this session. Still some of the drivers are not out on track. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers haven't yet gone out of the pit boxes. As well, now it's 5. There are yellow flags going into turn 14, but just slowing the cars to prepare their laps. As Pete is gonna set the first sector time, it's gonna be 29.086. Let's see if Lewis can manage to beat that. 3 tenths off, so it's not the best. He's 3 tenths off, so and the Aston Martin, so kind of I don't know. I don't know if it is good or not. Uh, um, as there are yet more drivers on their in, even on their laps, as there is Bobby who is going slowly. Um, I think he lost the rear going out of the turn. Turn 3, as I was talking about losing rear, Stack as well span, but he span out of turn 4. It's as well really easy to spin there as well. I think I need to put the audio even lower. Wait a second. It's even on 6, but just too too loud for me. As Pete sets the first time into 130.737. Then was Lewis coming with 131.5. Then was Niklas with 130.8. High with 131.203. Digo with 131.278. Mortar is coming to finish the laps. Tur um, going back to the pits. Probably messed up his lap somewhere. Stack, well, he's probably gonna do the same. Since he spun out of the turn 3 and 4, 2 and 3, as Patino goes P6 with 131.6. Bobby goes, well, he spun as well, so 144.7, but he still finishes lap, so he's probably gonna now push for his official time lap. I think there was someone before Matt, but Matt goes, well, he was provisionally P1 with 129.094, but Reggie beats him by 3/10 as Jogger leaves the session. Probably some problems with the game. This game is is famous for just glitching. It's really heavily glitching, so maybe just some disconnected from the session. I don't know. Some more drivers coming to make their times, as Shazza is gonna go through the finish line and he's gonna go P3, 8/10 behind Matt. That's huge amount of gap. That's a big gap. Well, for now the times does, even if his time is 8/10 behind Matt, he's probably gonna go through since he's 1 second ahead of, oh, 9/10 behind, ahead of Pete. Half of the drivers have set a time, but half of the other drivers haven't. As Bobby, who was apparently gonna finish his time on the second time lap, he doesn't. He probably made maybe the same mistake, or maybe in the other place of the track, kind of similar mistake. As Jugger probably joined back to his car. Webster, the reserve for right now for the Ferrari. Purple's second sector. Let's see if it's true that the purple second sector can be as well lying, as I have seen that many times. As Webster is gonna go through the line and, well, he goes P4 with 130.105. um, as there is a AlphaTauri of Stack who's gonna start his second time lap, or at least an attempt. The Ziri as well reserved for the Aston Martin, starting his time lap as well behind Stack. Tur as well starting his time lap, as Jovi as well starts his time lap. Patino doesn't look like he's... No, he's going back to the pits. Reggie retires in the pits, understandably, as there's the yellow flags, but that's just noise going slowly to prepare his lap. Actually, no. He was on a lap, but guess he messed up messed the top. That was a weird line to go into the pits. Probably Webster is gonna go back to the pits. Jogger is gonna start his time lap. Stack again shows purple second sector, but oh, I see had a snap there after the turn 13, but again the purple second sector 1 minute 8 seconds. No. As Stack goes P9 with 131.5. The Ziri goes P12 with 131.8. Behind them there is Tur, who's gonna go P5 130.4. Giovi is gonna finish his time lap going P8 131.0. And behind them there is Luke, who's gonna start his time lap. He's gonna start his time lap. Jogger as well on his time lap. Yellow flags in turn 5 and 6. That's just slow moving car. Jogger's time doesn't look to be the best. 110 second sector, so it doesn't look the best. Laziri going slow out of turn 7. Again, slow moving. Maybe spun, but well, he doesn't have any damage, so he didn't hit any. Oh, as he went on the curb. That if you go on the curb on the outside in going into turn 10, somewhat, well, touching that curb is not the best idea. But if you go like in the middle with your car, then you're just gonna bog down and you're just gonna slide and spin. You're just gonna slide and spin. You have literally no control. It's like aquaplaning, as Jovi as well did that probably. No, he's a bit. He missed the whole braking. I guess. I think. Or maybe as well went onto the outside curb, but just somehow went so far. Well, anyways, nothing happened to Jovi, so that's the best thing. Well, that ain't really helpful for the drivers who are driving without the racing line, because now they have to do a muscle memory as he goes really. What is Jovi doing? Both Alpines still haven't set a time, as I think someone set a time. Diego, no. Niklas went P8 with 130.8. It's a pretty good debut for him in the Haas, being P8 in Q1. 4 cents faster than the main driver Diego in P11 went 131.278. A few more drivers, as Lewis in the Aston Martin goes 7th 130.5, as the first Alpine is gonna start. Noise is gonna start his time. Both Alpines haven't set a time, so they need to set a time now. And well, at least into 131.0 or low 131 or high 130 to make it through. Noise first sector was 28.8. Hybe, well, apparently purple sector 1, but we will see on the time on the when he finishes his lap. Luke retires in the pits, as well as Tur and Matt. Noise fastest sector, but again, the same thing. Noise's second sector was 1 minute 7 seconds point 8. As Noise comes out of the final corner and he goes P5 130.2, 1/10 behind Webster and just the 9,000 behind Luke. Let's see where his own teammate Hybe is gonna go with his time. He comes out of the final corner and he goes P4 with 129.8, just 1,000 behind Shazza. So that's really good for both Alpines in terms of their fight in the constructors, as Noise is improving in the first sector by 1.5 tenths, but he doesn't have much ERS, well, any of it actually, and and he doesn't have that much fuel, so that lap is not gonna really count that much. Well, we will see when he's if he's gonna improve in the second sector, if he's still improving, as there was a bit of a snap, or not, that just lag, as he's improving by 2 tenths, but again he will lose here time because he doesn't have any RS and his fuel ends, so he's in low fuel mode and he's not gonna improve his time. Well, he doesn't really need to, as Shazza is going slowly. That's why the yellow flags most of the time. On the chopping block of not going into Q2 are Stack, Patino, Lerizi, and Bobby. Lerizi is not improving his 2 tenths down, as he loses the rear as well, I think. Many yellow flags, but those are just slow moving cars, as what Shazza's doing. He's going really slow. Oh, he does, no, he has fuel. He's just going slowly for some reason. I don't know. I don't know the reason why he's going slowly, but he doesn't actually need to go out. He's safe. If Luke and Tur have retired when they're P7 and 8, then his time off. As he spins out of the final corner, luckily he misses the inside wall as he goes really wide. As he goes really wide, but luckily he didn't hit the wall. So we front wing is not damaged, and mainly he didn't retire from the session. As Stack, I think Patino, I think, went faster than Stack, I think. I just can't. I don't know. I can't just concentrate right now for some reason. As Laziri not improving, Bobby is improving by 6 seconds. Let's see his second sector. He's gonna improve by 10 seconds, 10.5 seconds. So if that 10 seconds, he's still not gonna improve his position, as Shazza going slowly out of turn 7. But Bobby needs to find, well, he probably made a, he was going really slowly here, but let's see if he's gonna improve his position, and he improves to P14, the same exact time as Jovi, but Jovi still can do a lap, while Bobby, he doesn't really have ERS, so I don't think he will be on a lap anymore. Well, he's still pushing with ERS and everything, so he's still trying, but Jovi still can improve, and as well as, well, Jogger, on his first lap he did improve, but now on his second time lap maybe he can improve. Stack as well the same. Patino is officially out. Laziri as well out with with invalidating his time, but there are still both Alpha Taris who can improve their times to go faster. Um, Jogger not improving his time, 35 thousandths as he goes wide and invalidates his time, so he is out as well. Stack improving by 3.5 tenths, so with but he still has to find 2.5 tenths that so that he goes through. His teammate not helping him with slipstream. Probably Stack could have wanted the slipstream, but anyways, as Bobby improves by half second in the second sector, but he loses time on the third sector, only improving by 3 tenths, but he improves the position to P12, so that means that he's safe. Jovi as well improving 3.5 tenths as we go through the finish line, and he goes P9, so that's him through as well. On the chopping block there is Diego. Stack is going through the finish line, and he goes 9th. So, and that is Q1 over. Leziri starting 19th. Is he stuck? No, he's not stuck. Patino 18th. Jogger 17th. Diego 16th. High barely making it into Q1. Not a really good debut for Leziri, as he's disqualified for parked in a dangerous location. Patino again not really did not have the best times around here. Jogger as well the same with 17th. Diego being out qualified by the reserve as Niklas in his debut P12 in a Haas. Bobby as well in this time when I'm commentating debuts in the 14th, but still half a second behind his teammate Luke. Well, basically all the reserves made it in besides Leziri and Jugger. So Q1 ends here. Reggie P1, Matt P2, and Shaza P3. But we now move into Q2. Quite interesting actually the Q1 was, with how close the drivers were. Actually, well, the top 2 is in his, well, Reggie is in his own league. But then like Hybe and Shaza being really close between each other, only 1/10 behind, 1,000, sorry, 1,000 between them. But now we are in Q2. The first driver out of the garage looks like it to be an AlphaTauri of Stack. Then behind him there is two drivers actually. It's Niklas and High, really close between each other. Then it is Hybe. No, it's Noise. Sorry, it's Noise. Then it was a Mercedes of Pete. And behind him there is another Alpine. This time it's Hybe. As there's a Ferrari as well leaving right now the pits. It is Matt. No wait, that's a McLaren. Sorry, that's a McLaren of Luke. As well as there was Jovi leaving the pits before Luke. Not realizing that. Now it's an Ferrari of Matt. So there's a bit of a fight between Stack, Niklas, and High, or maybe not fight, maybe just fighting for the positions like when they're starting their laps. But it looks like it. Stack is gonna be the first driver to start his time lap in Q2. Then behind him there's gonna be High, and behind him there's gonna be Niklas. And behind Niklas it's gonna be Noise, and behind Noise it's gonna be Pete. As well, both the Red Bull duo as well leaving the pits. One leaving a bit earlier, it was Reggie, and a bit further back it's Shaza. Sorry, Shaza. And behind Shaza it's gonna be F1 Lewis. Stack already finishing the first sector with 29.1. Bit of a wheel spin, or having a small moment out of turn 7. It was actually 8, as in front of him there is a Red Bull of Shaza. No, Reggie, sorry, Reggie, who span. Or I don't know if he actually span, he looked like it. As the as the boards, the braking boards are back in Q2. Luckily, the marshals have recovered them, or repaired them. Stack comes out of the final corner, or now the final corner actually, and DRS open. He comes to the line 131.4. He goes previously P1. High goes into the pits. Niklas with 130.8. Behind him there's going to be Noise, who goes 129.054. Then behind him it's Reggie, who is starting his time lap, and behind Reggie is going to be Shaza, who is going to be starting his time lap. Yellow flags into the first corners, but that just Noise going slowly. Pete goes P2 with 130.1. Then it's Hybe with 129.5. And then it was Lewis who was starting his time lap. Yellow flags into turn 1, but again, slow moving cars, just letting other cars through. Luke is gonna come to the finish line, and he goes P3 with 129.652. Jovi, he comes now to the finish line with 130.5. He goes P5. Then it is a Ferrari. He doesn't set a time. Matt goes now P1 with 128.7. Webster, I think, invalidated his last lap, but he's now on a second time lap, I believe. As there is no stack, he's gonna go. As Reggie has span out of turn 11, so he will need to set a second time lap. I don't know, maybe on this tire, on the used ones, maybe, or maybe just, well, he doesn't look like he will have enough fuel for the second time lap in a row, but he can get out on the same used tires, I believe. Shaza goes only P3 with 129.5. Something is going wrong with the second Red Bull. I think it was something going really wrong with Shaza this weekend. Maybe just not. Maybe not just his track, and just not on his day. Who knows? Webster, out of the two final corners, comes to the finish line shortly, and he goes P5 with 129.7, 1 second behind his own teammate. Not really looking well for Webster for now. Tur with fastest first sector 28.7. Again, same thing as always. That fastest first sector is sometimes just a lie. As there are yellow flags in turn 4, as it was Lewis who made a mistake in the turn 4. Bobby starting his time lap, as Niklas coming out of the pits. Hopefully doesn't block Bobby. Tur now, 2 final corners, flat out, and now there is open, and he goes to the finish line. He goes P2 with 128.956. Lewis now coming to the finish line, but I guess he will go into the pits. I guess. Yes, he is going to the pits. Webster, I believe, yeah, he's gonna go as well into the pits. Invalidate his in lap, and he doesn't have really that much ERS. High now. He's gonna set the time, hopefully. Out of the final corner, there's open as he comes to the line with 130.482. He goes P9, 110 behind, ahead of Jovi. This qualifying is looking very good for High, as this can be the first time that he's gonna get points in this season. Yellow flags in turn is sector 2, but slowing cars, just letting by Reggie. As I need to check, was it High or High? One quick moment. It was High, so High in the Williams. It was the one. As someone went faster, that was Bobby, I think, who went P8 with 129.756, 26 thousandths behind Webster in the Ferrari. As Reggie starting his second attempt of setting a time in Q2. Now turn 4 and exit of it. We will see what's his first sector. It's gonna be 28.7. I think it was the fastest first sector. I haven't really paid attention in the first sectors. Lewis coming out of the pits. He needs to set a time as well. He's been looking very quick around here in his Aston Martin, but just hasn't set a time around here. As Niklas he doesn't come to the line as he invalidated his time lap. I guess Stack. He was, I think, on a time lap, but he's still P13 with 130.882. Reggie now out of the final corner. There's open, and he will go P4 129.1. Hype goes P5 129.414. That's 1 cent ahead of Shaza, but Shaza, I think he will improve his time. No, he's run now on an outlap, so he's gonna start his time lap. Something with like the outlap icon just disappears when they're at one moment of sector 3. I don't know what sometimes is this game. Stack, I don't think he's improving, but Lewis now starting his time lap. Again, the same thing as no, that's High, who has spun out of turn 4. Yellow flags going into turn 9. That's Reggie going slowly. Stack going into the pits. Lewis now into the turn 4, and now the exit of it. The first sector is going to be 20 9.2, so that's 5 tenths behind Reggie's first sector. But Lewis is in the Aston Martin, so there is also, you need to take these corners a bit with or just very cautiously with these cars, as he had a bit of a slide in the turn 10. But yeah, with these cars that are, for example, Aston Martin and Williams, they just don't have the same aero as, for example, Ferrari or Red Bull. And these cars as well use Mercedes powered engines, which aren't the best. They aren't the best, really. So, but Lewis coming out of the final corner, there is open, and it's gonna be P14, just 100 ahead of Stack. He might be 15th going like when the Q2 is gonna be finishing. But that's so right now. More drivers coming out of the pit lanes, hybrid tires in the pits, but more drivers coming out of the pits to improve their times. And mainly the drivers who are now coming out are the drivers who are in danger of going out of Q2, as Bobby spins out of turn 4. Users reset the track. Don't know if that is allowed. So cuts corners. I still don't know if it's allowed. I'm just gonna leave them. I honestly need to look at the rules book. I honestly need to look at it. But Hi is gonna be the first driver who is gonna no wait, he finished, no, he finished his time. He improved, but not enough to improve his position. Only P11 with 130.1. That's where Shazak was in the middle of the what is he doing? What is Shazak doing? Is he trying to make a practice start? Anyways, the drivers who are now in danger of Q2 are starting their laps. Webster surprisingly did not go out, so he can be in danger of not making it in the Ferrari. But as Bobby is the last driver of the drivers in danger of not getting into Q3, has started his time, and Q2 timer has ended. So basically, if you messed up your time, then you're out, as Lewis retires. But there is still a Bobby, and I don't know if Evan Lewis's AI has interrupted Bobby's time. Well, it didn't look like it, since he improved by 1/10 into sector 1. Shaza, or not, Stack has invalidated his time, so he's out. High, not improving. Well, he was on his in-lap. Niklas improving, but only barely 2/10, so he might be out as well. As Stack's AI, okay, he goes to the right, so he's not in ahead of him. Niklas goes only P12, so he's as well out. Jovi improving by 4.5 tenths, and he goes through to the line. He goes P10, but there is still Pete who can improve his time. Well, the seconds. No, he's going to the pits, so he's out as well. So Jovi just making it in. Bobby improving his time to P6, 129.353, and Jovi barely making it in. Webster's decision to not go out again was the right thing to do, apparently. So that's Pete, High, Niklas, F1 Lewis and Stack out of Q2. Um, and and as this time Matt is the first is the fastest in Q2. Tur P3, Shazza P3. Did it? Tur P2. Shazza improved his time, I think, again by 1,000 out of an Alpine. This time it's Noise. Reggie P5, Bobby P6, High P7, Luke P8, Webster ninth, and Jovi final driver to make it into Q3, and the driver who closes the top 10, Jovi. Pete 11th, High 12th, Niklas 13th, Lewis 14th, and the last driver in Q2 is Stack. And now drivers are gonna be um now they're gonna be um uh, no, I can't speak today. I can't speak today, but now all the drivers are gonna focus to make the best position and trying to make it into pole position. Reggie, the favorite for the pole position, probably is going out of his pit box, um, and just ahead of Tur, and it looks like he's going to be the first driver to be out on track first. Right, what cameras are there? This one. I don't want this cam. Okay, now it works. I don't want the other cameras because the engine sounds are just so loud. Um, um, but now Reggie letting through Tur, but it was Reggie first out on track, then it was Tur, then the both Alpines, as Reggie wants to let through an Alpine of Noise, but Noise doesn't want to be let through. Then behind them there was Matt, then it was Webster, then it's Jovi, and still in the pit lane is both McLarens, as well actually one of the McLarens are leaving, it's Luke. So now only Bobby and Shazza are in their pit lanes, pit boxes. God damn it, man. I just can't speak today. As Bobby now the final McLaren driver now out on track, so that only means that Shazza is the only one now in the pit lane, in the pit box. But as well he is leaving now, so all the drivers are gonna be at one time. All 10 drivers are gonna be now out on track, as Turf is the first driver to start his timed lap. Now behind him there's gonna be Hybe, and behind Hybe there's gonna be Reggie, and maybe no, there's nothing about slipstreaming. There's nothing that the Red Bulls are gonna be slipstreaming each other. Then behind Reggie is gonna be Matt, as Hype already spun on his timed lap, so his first time lap of Q2 is gonna be he's probably gonna be going into the pits. Well, it as well depends if he has enough fuel, but it didn't look like it from the onboard from the different onboard camera. It didn't look like he has enough fuel. He had only 1.4 laps of fuel, but he needs to let through Reggie, as he does, letting through. But Tur still fast second sector, but now going into the final two turns, and it doesn't look like he is making a mistake. Now Dira's open as he comes through the finish line, and he's gonna be going provisional pole position 129.114.7. but behind him there is gonna be Reggie, the pole favorite for this Grand Prix. The door is open as he comes through the line. 128.430, 6 tenths ahead of Tur. Matt goes P2 with 128.795. Noise goes P3, 128.9. Hype goes P5, well, he span on his time. Then behind them there's gonna be Webster, who has invalidated his time. Jovi spinning and hitting the wall, damaging his front wing. He span out of the turn 11. Bobby first sector 28.7. But as Luke spins again in the same place as Jovi did, but he didn't damage his front wing. Ravidi joining into the, well, if he wants his AlphaTauri place, then he's too late. Tur, yeah, he's gonna be going to the pits, as Bobby is gonna, well, after these two final corners, as he doesn't make a mistake, or big of a mistake, there is open as he comes through the line. He goes P5, 129.6 for 1. Luke, after his spin, goes P6 with 144.2. As both of the, what has happened with both of the Red Bulls? They just span out of the final corner. Both of them span out of the final corner, which is interesting. Weird as well. As Webster is gonna finish his time. DRS open, and now comes to the line P7, 129.992. And currently he's the slowest driver to make a lap without any mistakes. Well, actually, Luke is the large driver with a time lap, but we know that Luke has span, and Webster, well, by the looks of his time, he didn't do a major mistake, like a big major mistake, like a spin or something. As Hype in the meantime as well went P5, 129.2, one bit less than 1/10 behind Tur, but still 6 tenths ahead of 4 tenths. Sorry, 4 tenths ahead of Bobby, as Bobby spins out of the final corner, but he was on his in lap anyways. Well, I guess he was on his in lap, as currently no drivers on their time lapse, so for now, for a few seconds, it's gonna be pretty silent. The only driver out on track is Webster, but Shaza comes out of his pit out of his pit box, out of his garage. Garage sounds better. But right now he's the only driver now out on track, as Webster goes into the pits. So Shaza is the only driver now out on track, and well, basically, just I don't think, no, the other drivers don't seem to be going out. No, it doesn't look like it. The Mercedes garage, since they're chilling. Red Bull as well. Ferrari car is going back to the garage. McLaren seems quiet. Alfa Romeo as well. Alpine as well. So for now, the only driver that we can spectate technically is Shaza, as he is the only driver out on track. I don't have anything to say. There's just nothing going on other than Shaza just on his out lap, and just after this back straight, And now after these two final corners, he's gonna be on his probably final timed lap of Q2, Q3. Um, so, well, yeah, into turn one. It looks like he's with no traction control, so the first few corners are a bit of a challenge for him. Now going into turn 4. Doesn't look like he's making a mistake, as the first sector is 28.8, apparently fastest first sector. I honestly doubt that again. He missed the apex going into turn 8, and he misses he goes really wide into turn 10, as he as well backs out of his time. It looks like I think he has enough fuel. Let me turn off the telemetry. Well, just about. He looks like he only has 1.2 lap of fuel, so he needs to save it, as now more drivers are coming out of the pit boxes. So now the drivers are gonna be focusing to make the best time right now in this qualifying. In here, as basically everyone is out on track. Shaza 1.1 lap of fuel. Now warming up the tires, but I don't know if he's gonna make it with only this amount of lap of fuel, as he has DRS enough. But he's starting his now final flying lap of this Q2. Noise, he isn't. Well, basically only Shaza is at the moment on his time lap, as there are yellow flags in the back straight. Again here. Noise starting his time lap, final time lap. Shaza now improving by 1.5 tenths and fastest first sector apparently. But his lap looks more cleaner, as yep, it looks more cleaner for the time being. So he's gonna be trying to make it to the pole position, or at least close to it, with Reggie having 128.430 the first sector. But does Reggie improve? He improves, but only 1/100th of a second, and that fastest first sector for Shaza was a lie, and Shaza goes slowly, really slowly. He was improving in the first sector. What is going on with him? As Hybe, no, that's Noise who spins out of turn 11, as well as Bobby makes a mistake out of turn 4. He retires. He knows that he can improve. Luke improving by 13 seconds, but we know that his previous time was really bad. Shaza still going slowly for some reason, but Luke now coming through the line. The is open, and now he comes through the line with time of 129.3, goes P6. Hybe is good. No, Reggie, he has invalidated his time. So for Matt, he improves by 3 cents, but not enough for the pole position. Hybe improves to P3 ahead of his own teammate. There's only Tur for now. Webster improves to go P7. As Tur doesn't improve his time, he goes into the pits. So that's Reggie yet again with the pole position. Now here in Bahrain, Matt just missing by only half a tenth. and Hype 2.5 tenths behind Reggie. Noise P4 with 5 tenths behind Reggie. Tur 7 tenths. Luke 9.5. Webster just 6 thousandths behind Luke. Bobby P8, Jovi P9, and Shazza only P10 in this qualifying. So for the well, I can say that the Red Bull second driver, Shazza, this track just and this day is just not for him. But it is Reggie on pole position here around Bahrain. Matt P2, Hype P3, Noise P4, Tur P5, Luke P6, Webster P7, Bobby P8, Joey P9, and Shazza finishing in the top 10. Yeah, and now we will focus on for the race. On the race, well, it probably will be dry since Middle East, and in the Middle East rarely rains. As I think there are going to be 20 drivers. Gravity, for some reason, has joined, but he will be on the other car than AlphaTauri, since both of the AlphaTauris are for the two other drivers already taken. Well, we won't see his name around here, but a lot of drivers have a number 2 for some reason. They haven't changed their numbers, as we see that Pete, Tur, Shazza, and Reggie have number 2 as their racing number. But honestly, nobody really cares about the racing numbers. If it's just, well, it, it, but as well it depends. It as well depends. Gravity is in the Williams, but now formation lap has started. Let's see what tires have everyone gone through. Most of the drivers on the mediums, what I would expect. Only a few drivers, Luke, Shazza, Rizzi, and Gravity, have gone on to hards, but they're gonna probably doing the same strategy, just reversed with hard mediums, as Joker and Patiño have been disqualified from the formation lap. Probably some contact between them. Predicted strategy are medium hards. For the 2-stop, no, nobody is gonna be going on that, as Reggie was trying to overtake, I think, Luke, but well, Reggie was trying dangerously to overtake one of the McLarens, but Lewis and Diego getting disqualified themselves as well from the qualifying. Again, predicted pit stop strategy, medium hards and hard mediums. I'm not gonna say the 2-stop, because who is gonna go on that? It's just, you have to be basically on like some kind of, you have to be, you just have to be not yourself to go onto softs around Bahrain. Softs just aren't the best tire. Just they drain really quickly. They are basically only good for qualifying, and if there are low amount of laps and there is a safety car, then at that moment they're only good for that. Medium hard and hard mediums are the basically the optimal strategy for this race, as Larisia and Gravity getting disqualified as well. But now drivers are gonna slot themselves into the grid slots. again, sorry if you guys hear some kind of knocking or kind of like construction work in the background. Shazza getting disqualified, but just missing the grid slot, so he's gonna be sent a few meters back. Where the well, we're gonna where are all of the well, where are all of these? Reggie being he has slotted himself a bit angled as lights are not getting on for some reason. Hello? Race director? You there? Stack has left the session, and now 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and lights out, and away we go in this Bahrain Grand Prix. Reggie getting good enough starts to still be in P1. Matt, what are these cameras, man? As we don't see enough what is happening, as Alpines and Niklas having a beautiful start from like P13 or P12. Reggie and Matt still staying in their positions. Bobby P3 with their amazing start, third down to P4, or no, actually up to P4 I think. Niklas up to P5 with his brilliant start as well from like 12th or 13th. Webster 6th. Alpines not having the best starts for now. Pete 9th, up to 9 is from like 11th I think. Jovi lost 1 position now to 10, down to 10th. Shazza as well not having the greatest starts while he's on the hards. Luke down to 12th with a bad start, probably some contact as well. High down to 13th. Lewis still staying in 14th. Actually, High is on the same place as he was from the start, but he's now attacking Luke. No, he actually lost 1 position. But Reggie is still leading. Matt is being really close to Reggie, so Matt has the opportunity to win this Grand Prix if this pace keeps up. If he keeps this pace around here. Tur has gained 2 positions as he overtook Bobby. Now Niklas trying to go on the inside of Bobby after having a brilliant start, but he's still stuck in P5. Hype has overtaken Webster as Shazza is going down the order. He has spun out of turn 4, and now he's 17th, 18th. He's down to 19th. He will probably gain position on Gravity into turn 9. As there's a bit of a contact between them, but Shazza is gonna gain the position on Gravity at some point, as Larizi in the background going really wide into turn 10. Stack has left the session from the start. I think some kind of a internet issues for him, and he is 14 seconds behind Larizi. As Reggie finishes the lap 2, and we go now into lap 3 of this Grand Prix. Reggie sets the new fastest time, and DRS is now activated, so Matt can now enable the DRS out of turn 3, but he's still not really close enough, as Webster has been overtaken by Noise, and Niklas has been fighting with Hive, but not having the greatest exits out of turn 3. Maybe some kind of a problem for him, as Niklas doesn't have any ERS whatsoever anymore, so he has used all of the ERS that he had in the first 3 laps. So, and around here in Bahrain, it's not that easy to regain ERS, but it's not as hard as on the two previous games, but it's still not really. It's not that easy to gain the ERS back. As now the grid has settled and calmed down a bit, Matt just barely in the DRS zone of Reggie. Reggie has less amount of ERS than Matt, as in the background Gravity has spawned on outside on the exit of turn 11. He has broken his front wing, and it has caused a now full safety car, and now drivers have to slow down, like brake, like literally go full stop because of Delta around this game is just so broken. Like it gets you 5 seconds, like minus 5 seconds, which is so weird. But anyways, Hive going into the pits, pitting for Hearts. Gravity, well, he obviously has to go into the pit since he broke his front wing, but that allows Stag to gain the time back after he was kicked out of he left the session maybe from some kind of problems with the internet. But anyways, the leader has caught up to the safety car, so for now there's not that much things to do or talk about, as there are drivers. What has happened behind there? I'm confused with what has happened there, but I guess Shaza has gained 2 positions because Larisia and Patino did something weird. I don't know what they do, but what did they do? But Shaza is up by 2 positions, I guess. That is maybe going to be reviewed in the FIA, as I honestly don't know what has happened. But the stop with these notifications, man. But already in lap 4 there is a safety car. So who knows? Maybe there's gonna be. Who knows? Maybe there's gonna be one more safety car in this race. Hopefully, there's gonna be no restarts. Hopefully, or restarts. I mean, or by restarts I mean like red flags, so that we have to basically leave the session. I was checking that live is on, or the stream is on. As that goes into pits, as he as well speeds in the pit lane. Is this a front wing change? It is a front wing change, going into the soft. As Matt is going really slow. What is happening here? Bobby, what? Bobby is up to P2. Tur is now up to P2. What has happened back here? Someone has overtaken Matt for a brief second, and now, well, Tur is up to P2, but what is happening back here? I guess, what is happening in here? Well, Tur is up to P2, but behind Matt, I think it was Tur, so I guess Tur. No, I don't know what has happened, but Larisi has dropped down to last. But now Stack has to. What is happening around here? It's a safety. This is all happening behind the safety car. Like, what is happening behind the safety car? Like, now Hype is 17th and Stack still lost. Well, he was up to. What is happening? And now Bobby has overtaken Tur. What the hell is happening? I'm so confused. Well, I guess Matt regained his P2, Tur regained dropped down back to P3. Safety car in this lap. Very late call by the FIA and Bernd Mailander, as probably the drivers have not warmed up their tires, so now they have to warm them tires as quickly as possible. But that means that Reggie now is controlling the pace, and he will probably go in the matter of seconds. He's still warming up the tires, and now he goes. Reggie gets a really good restart, but Tur is in the back of Matt, as there's so much happening at the back. Niklas sending it into turn 1 on the other drivers, as there's more happening at the back, but I can't just focus on it. Matt is going on the inside of Reggie into turn 4. Reggie on the outside, he has a better exit. They're still going side by side into turn 5. Matt is on the leading, but they're still going side by side now into turn 8. Reggie on the inside, and Matt still having better exit than Reggie, but they're still going side by side at it into turn 10. But Reggie now on the switch back, but it looks like it's for now Matt is leading this race around Bahrain, as there's a virtual safety car. Two drivers have retired in the meantime, while no, there's actually not a virtual safety car, but these two are still on it. There was a bit of contact between them. Bobby looking in the background. It kind of reminds me of Abu Dhabi 2021, but just one different car. Reggie sending it into the turn 14, but Matt still has a really good exit. But this is now again yellow flags, but they're still racing hard, so there is no safety car whatsoever. Matt on the outside, and he has now the inside, so he's now P1. But Reggie now trying to go around the side of Matt, but Matt defending well, and this remains that Matt is now, for now, ahead of Reggie, but turns down to P13 in the meantime. We were too much focused in the battle for the first position. Bobby up to P3, Niklas P4, Noise P5, Webster P6 with a penalty, Pete P7, Jovi P8, Luke 9th, Hype 10, Shaza 11th, Tur 12th, Diego 13th, High 14th, Larizi 15th, Stack 16th, Gravity 17th. These three have penalties, some kind of penalties, as Lewis sends it up on Gravity into turn 11. As these two, Matt and Reggie, are still at it, and now Reggie with the usage of ERS is on the inside going into turn 1, as he on the braking he moves. Kinda confused about that, but Matt will have the DRS going into turn 4, as well. Reggie moves on the last second on the outside, but Matt is on the inside. They're still now they are not side by side, and Matt again now regains the lead. Niklas has span in the background at the exit of turn 4, so he is now dropped down to P11. Reggie will have the DRS going on this straight, on this back straight. This is officially back straight. Reggie doesn't have much ERS anymore. His red light is flashing, but Reggie is trying to send it on the inside into turn 11, but Matt has the better exit of turn 11, But now Reggie has to keep his patience for the main straight, as he is using ERS. He's gaining on Matt, but he doesn't send it into turn 14. Now exit out of turn 15. Reggie, DRS open, not using any ERS since he doesn't have any. Matt doesn't use any ERS as well, but Reggie now up to P1, but Matt sends a dummy into turn 1, but now Matt will have the DRS on Reggie. He uses a bit of ERS on the exit. Now he again uses a bit of ERS. Matt on the outside. That's Luke spun out of turn 3. These two are still side by side going into turn 6, as Reggie has to give way for Matt. Diego 3 seconds. Luke now jumps to P14 after spinning in turn 3. Tur having a good recovery after I guess something happened with him on the restart. Now at P10. Jovi having a great race as well in the P7. Webster as well in the P5. Bobby in P3. Noise behind him, but for now Bobby can enjoy the P3. Reggie still behind Matt, really closely behind him, only 3 tenths, 2.5 tenths apart from them. Now going into turn 14, Reggie sniffing for the P1, and now Reggie will activate the DRS once again in the main straight. He doesn't use any ERS. Matt uses a bit of ERS, but Reggie on into turn 1, he's P1, but Matt sends it into turn 1, and Matt will have the DRS. So this was a perfect strategy for Matt to still get the DRS, but being P1 once again, there is a fight between both Aston Martins and Gravity, as Reggie has spun out of turn 4. The driver who was in P2 and for the contention for to win this, now he's down to 9th, so that has relieved the pressure for Matt. Now he doesn't have to really worry about Bobby, since Bobby is in the worst car in the McLaren, and he doesn't seem to have really good pace around here. But Reggie already up to 8th, overtaking Tur, and Shaza as well P10 behind Tur, really closely. Tur doesn't seem to have much ERS, Reggie doesn't either, but he has slightly bit more ERS than him. Next target for Reggie is Jovi, but Jovi will have the DRS on Hybe, so Reggie will have to rely on the Red Bull Power engine, as Noise overtakes Bobby even before turn 1, as Bobby sends it into turn 1, as he barely makes a corner and pushes Noise a bit wide. Bobby will have the DRS on Noise, but Noise sending it now into turn 4, as they're making a bit of contact, I think I heard there, but Bobby still controversially remaining in P2 still, as Lewis and Stack going into the pits for their first pit, or actually Stack's second pit stop, I think, and Lewis's first pit stop. Stack is alright, but Noise and Bobby are still fighting on it. Noise not really sending it into turn 11, as Shaza in the meantime has overtaken Tur, well, not in here but earlier. Reggie now sniffing for the P7, and he's on a mission to at least be back onto the podium. Well, the podium is not really far back, as Noise has overtaken Bobby into turn 14, and he has as well DRS. None of both of these have much ERS, but Bobby still remaining really close with the help of the slipstream. Bobby this time doesn't send it into turn 1, so Noise still in P2, but Bobby will have the DRS and uses all of his ERS for now, and he sends it into turn 4, but Noise still remaining in P2. So now Bobby has to as there what the what the hell? Where are these drivers still on? I don't know what was that. Glitched game, I guess. Stack was stuck in the pit lane and just couldn't move, and Pete was behind him. Weird things again by Codemasters, as Pete and Lewis are fighting in it for P16, as Lewis has fresher hearts than Pete, and as well warmer, and Lewis, they're still going side by side into turn 6, but Lewis now up to P16. Matt extending the gap from Noise, now 5 seconds out of Noise. Bobby going first of the medium runners into the pits. Jovi following in as well, and Reggie in the meantime, fastest lap of the race. Reggie as well now trying to overtake Webster. Now there is open and tries to go around the outside of Webster into turn 4, and he breaks later. He has a better line, and he is up to P4. Next on his target is Hybe on his, well, younger but on the hard tires. So younger tires but on the hards. Hards for now are optimal, since they have less wear than mediums, but Reggie is faster in the Red Bull, which has better air, basically better package than Alpine. Matt still extending the lead from Noise. Lap 13. Matt is maybe gonna go to the pits. He is going to the pits, so the leader is going to the pits. I guess as well Noise is gonna go into the pits. Reggie as well goes into the pits. Webster, Shaza doesn't follow him in, since he has hearts. Webster 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. Tur as well follows the other train, or the same train, into the pits. Luke is gonna gain some few positions, but he's on the same hearts that he has been since lap 1. He's gonna be behind Matt, but he's gonna have tires that are colder, and Luke, with the help of DRS and ERS and basically much more warmer tires, he didn't overtake him though, but now on the exit out of turn 4 still hasn't overtaken him. So Matt nicely defending from Luke, not getting overtaken. Clapped Pete retiring in the pits, at least retired in the pits. Hybe for now is leading this race for a bit of a change. For now, P2 is Shaza, but these two drivers have to make a, well, technically Hybe doesn't need to make a pit stop, but these cars are not gonna go into the end. I highly doubt that he's gonna go into the end. He doesn't go into the pits. Shaza as well. Well, they don't really need to go now, since, well, if they're gonna pit now, then 14 laps on those mediums are not gonna be optimal. As already drivers, when it was lap 13, they were already pitting. Um, Reggie out of Bobby. Something has happened to Bobby since he's behind Reggie now, and as well, I know, no, I don't actually know what's happened to Bobby since he was, well, he, he was out of Hybe, but now going into the pits, but now he's behind Reggie, um, and yeah, he's now behind Reggie, which is weird, but anyways, Reggie now, the driver out of him is Noise, and he has to overtake him to be up to P5. Tur, in the meanwhile, overtakes Laziri, who is still on his heart. Not the best drives by Laziri, just not. As he goes now back into the Webster, hitting him completely off track. Luckily, Webster did not spin, and I think once again Laziri hits Webster in the back. Now just turn 10. So Laziri, a bit of dirty driving around here. Yeah. Hype still not pitting as well as Shazza. Luke, no wait, no. Luke was it's on the same tire. So Matt, on the fresher, or like virtually in the P1, Hype and Shazza have to still make their pit stops. Well, it's the same thing for, like I said before, it's not the same. It's the same as Luke has spun out of turn 3, actually before turn 3. So he's now again, he has spun, and he's lost his places, as well as in the background there was Diego, who was earlier span, just turn 12, but he's now down to P13, so he's now the last driver on these hearts, on these same on the same hearts that he has started with. But Hype still surprisingly keeping the same gap between him and Shazza. But Reggie now is in the DRS zone of Noise, but as he goes wide on the exit of turn 13, and High has retired on track, and that has caused a safety car out on track. Let's see if he actually he has retired on track. He's just pressed the button. He literally only just pressed the button. So that might be a bit controversial for this race, since I would say this safety car was caused deliberately, since he only pressed the button and retired on track. So and I think that is illegal, so it's not really good. And now these drivers who have been on the same hearts that they have started with, so for example Larizi, Luke, and then as well Hype and Shazza, who have been on this, well actually Hype not on the same tire, but on the similar strategy as them, can now pit onto mediums. And Hype's mediums, they weren't that used, so they were only used like 3 laps. So with those mediums, they aren't actually that bad. So Hype can go into the pits and change to the mediums. Shazza obviously has to change. As Hype goes into the pits, Shazza as well. So these two actually can be ahead of Matt, because Matt has still the delta as they both go into the pits, as I was saying, and Matt now in the main straight. He's now going full throttle. Hybe is gonna be behind. No, he's just missed. Ooh, as he hits Matt, but Matt has saved it. Hybe was desperate, highly desperate to be P1 out of Matt, but he's behind him. But on these mediums, he could overtake him if he has big enough pace to overtake the Ferrari. But this is chance for Shaza to win this race on these fresh mediums, and as well this is a chance for Liziri and Luke to gain the positions that they have lost in their own things that they have did. Like Luke has spun like twice on the exit of turn 3, or actually turn 2, but whatever, or turn 3 and 3, as these two are having a bit of a fight, obviously no overtaking under the safety car, but this race has flipped really well for Shaza from not having the best qualifying only 10th, as he didn't even manage to do a single lap, or actually he did, but 2 minutes around here is just well beyond bad. So obviously he had some issues with his times. Then not the greatest starts, with probably being, and he as well I think spun. Ooh, as Noise and Reggie have hit each other. Noise gets 5 seconds for colliding with Reggie. Well, in my opinion, Reggie just was going into the space where Noise. In my opinion, it was just Reggie's fault, because, well, Noise is ahead of him and you can't go really side by side with the other car, because it's Reggie in the rulebooks, like in real life, and I think it should be as well in here. But in my opinion, just Reggie's fault to go. He clearly saw that Noise ahead of him was warming up the tires, but Reggie was just going beside him and just went to the gap where basically he won. He shouldn't have been there, and so he clearly saw that Noise was warming up his tires. Hopefully, I think that 5 seconds is going to be removed, in my opinion. But anyways, we move as Noise has spun, and now he's down to P7, no, P8. He's now down to P8, so that's even worse for him. But it kind of looked like as well, kind of the same, that Shaza has overtaken Hybe. I hope that Hybe doesn't need to give the position to Shaza. It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it, fortunately. But as well, again, it kind of looked like that Reggie just hit Noise. But I hope that it didn't happen that way. Again, a second contact between Reggie and Noise. I think safety car is gonna be in this lap. Yep, safety car is in this lap, so the other red car is gonna go with his into the pits, but now the second red car of Matt is gonna control the pace, so same red car. So again, a red car is gonna control the pace, just one is a Mercedes, red Mercedes, one is a Ferrari. As well, Matt control his pace, warming up the tires. He gets a bit of a touch from Hybe into the back, but he's still warming up the tires, and now he's going, and this is go. So Reggie gets a really good restart, and he's side by side with his own teammate. Obviously not ideal for Shazza since he is on the mediums, as Hype overtakes Matt going into turn 1, so this is brilliant for him, as Matt is still defending from Shazza, who is on the mediums as well. But Hype looking for his probably first win around here in BP in the Alpine, so that would be very beneficial for the Alpine team in terms of the constructors, as Shazza goes on the inside of turn 8 of Matt, but he didn't manage to overtake him, as Matt had better exit over there as well. Tur had been spun, or something happened with Tur in turn 8, probably being spun. Like I said, Niklas now up to P6, as well as Bobby now up to P8, as Bobby and Niklas are fighting for P5, as Shazza is as well fighting with Matt for the P2, as there's Diego who has spun out of turn 12, and now he's 15th, as Matt and Shazza, they go side by side into turn 14. Matt has better exit off of turn 15, but now Shazza uses most of his ERS, and he's up to P2. Now ahead of Shazza there is Hype, as the early yellow flags in sector 2, that's just a bluff from the race. Niklas now up to P5, but he's still racing with Bobby, who they're going side by side. Now Niklas, actually Bobby has overtaken him, and Niklas gets 3 seconds for exceeding the track limits, as Luke has spun out of turn 4, and now he is the last driver right now. But Shazza looking ahead of him, the Alpine, who they both won their first wins around here, as Bobby retires on the exit of turn 10, and this is again a safety car. Wrong button, as there is again a delta. Bit of a gap between these two, as Hype has to really just go really slowly to not exceed the delta, as Shazza overtook Hype for a brief second, but luckily he didn't get anything. Lewis gets 3 seconds for exceeding the track limits too much, as Hype goes into the pits for probably softs. Shazza stays out, Matt goes in, Reggie goes in, Tur goes in, Niklas goes in, Jovi, Laziri stays out, Webster goes in, Gravidi, Luke probably as well will go in. He does, Diego as well. So all of the drivers have went in besides Shazza and Laziri. Now, well, everyone is going to the softs. But now, well, Shazza is going to be a bit screwed over again. Like in Brazil, I think, what happened. I think it was Brazil. But he has a buffer of Laziri. And Laziri is not really a great driver, as he doesn't have the greatest pace for now around here in Bahrain. So he's a good buffer for Shazza, because, well, for this race right now he's been quite slow. If we have to be honest, he's been quite slow, and he's gonna be probably the really good buffer for Shazza. So basically, I think Shazza will have to go as early as possible, because then all of the drivers behind Laziri have to be going slow. They can't overtake him on the last corner. So Shaza has to go as early as possible so that Laziri is gonna be a bit further back as Noise leaves the session. So Laziri, Shaza has to get as early of a restart as possible, so that Laziri gets a bit further back. He doesn't react quite well, and basically Hive, Matt, Reggie, they will be stuck behind Laziri for the final corner, and they're gonna lose like 1 second, 1.5 seconds. So that gives a bit of a buffer for Shaza. But now lap 23, and probably I would be expecting the safety car to be in at the end of this lap. I would expect. As there's Webster and Noise was overtaking each other. No, okay. Oops, wrong button. As we will be seeing, Noise has joined back, so Laziri has 6 seconds of penalties. Niklas, Jovi, Gravity, Lewis, and Luke have 3 seconds. Webster has 6 seconds, and Diego has 15. Somehow 15, I guess, collisions, and maybe one with the with speed lane limit, but I haven't seen honestly any of the penalties. Yeah, only Shaza and Laziri have made 1 stop, and all of the other drivers have made either 2 stops or 3 stops. The 3 stops only for Hybe and Gravity, and all of the other drivers 2 stops for them. Yeah, and basically every single driver is on softs besides Laziri and Shaza. So that goes again the same as pit stops. But safety car is in this lap, and let's see if Shaza has listened to me. Is he gonna do like I said, as he should? He's going pretty slowly, but he's going a bit too fast for in my liking. If he would have liked to do that strategy what I said, but safety car. Shaza has spun on just going into the restart. There's a big chaos, so Laziri is leading the race, but probably not for long, as Hype is gonna overtake him going into turn 1. Laziri hasn't really used any of his ERS. Hype now on the outside going into turn 1, braking later, but Laziri a bit pushing Hybe off, but Hybe now up to P1. Behind him there is Matt still pushing him, pressuring Noise down to P14. But what has happened on that restart, or basically not even restart, like just before the restart, Shaza I think just spun, or maybe Laziri has hit him. But Hype has penalty of 5 seconds, as Niklas has 8 seconds. So there are many drivers who have gained some penalties, as these 3 are gonna be fighting for the podium places, for the top 3 podium places, as well as the win for this race. Lap 24, so only lap 5 laps remaining in this race. Shaza already down to P10. Niklas getting again 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Shaza just overtook Lewis, but Lewis has some problems going at the exit of turn 12. But this is basically a sprint to the finish line. Well, basically not really a sprint, well, technically a sprint, as Reggie has overtaken Matt even before turn 1, as Matt isn't using much of his ERS, he's saving it for later. Reggie already is almost down to 20%, as Tur is P4, Laziri is already down to P6 as he's getting overtaken by Niklas around the outside. Lewis again having some problems. Yeah, Niklas has overtaken Laziri. Shazza into the pits for soft, so probably trying to set a new fast lap as Laziri sends it on the inside of turn 8, but there's major contact between him and Niklas. Now Gravity can, well, he goes on the he tries to go around that side of Laziri into turn 10, but he doesn't manage to do so. Reggie still being really close to Hybe, as Hybe maybe can get the 5 seconds removed, as Reggie is really close behind Hybe. Reggie has drained out of his ERS basically completely, but Matt has more, well, basically the same amount of as Hybe, but now Hybe is gonna use a bit of his ERS. Reggie with fastest lap, well, now 130.7, but that's the most probably least important thing as of right now, or maybe not actually, but one of the least important things, as Hybe has a bit extended his gap between him and Reggie, so that gave him a bit of a space, so that Reggie cannot overtake Hybe into turn 4. As Luke has dropped down to P, as Laziri I think has been spun because of Luke, I think, or something has happened between Luke and Laziri, as Noise has spun out of turn 4 and went into the barrier. Gravity on P7 from starting last, basically, as Reggie, there is open, but he isn't attacking. He's not attacking Hybe into turn 11. Matt still watching these two fighting. One in the Alpine, one in the Red Bull. One has already won the championship with the team and for himself, but the other one is fighting still for the second place in the constructors. We're not really fighting for much in drivers, as much as positions wise, like up the order. But Reggie with the DRS open, none of these drivers have much of ERS, but Hybe still managing to be in front of Reggie, so Hybe may be having more of a better pace than Reggie, or maybe just Hybe having better like overall top speed, as Diego has overtaken Gravity, but Gravity is trying to still be side by side into turn 4, but Diego with the DRS and a bit of usage from his ERS has managed to be has stayed in the P7. Jovi surprisingly P5. I've missed this so much, or I have missed this, and he's P5. Hopefully he doesn't ruin this, as Reggie trying to go around the outside of Hybe into turn 11. They have pretty similar exits as they go side by side into turn 12. This can't be. This is still going side by side into turn 13. Hybe is pushed off a bit, and Reggie now up to P1, but Hybe was trying to go around the outside of Reggie, but now Matt is side by side with Hybe, as this gives better opportunity for Reggie to extend his lead, but these two are still fighting as Hybe goes up the inside of Reggie into turn 1, as Hybe on the outside into turn 2 has the ERS, Reggie doesn't, so he's a sitting boat, as he is side by side with Matt, as he gets overtaken by Matt into turn 4, but he has a better exit off of turn 4 as he spins out of turn 4 and he's out of the fight for the P1. So this is now fight between Hype, Matt and Tur, because Tur has gained so much time on those three drivers fighting. But Reggie now down to P5 and Joffy up to P4. Well, probably down to P5 since he has penalties and Reggie will overtake him eventually. But Hype and Matt still fighting it. They are now fighting. The roles have reversed. Now Hype was on the inside and Matt was on the outside. Actually, the reverse. As ahead of him there's a bot of noise, but he's ghosted. But Matt is still behind Hybe as they will start the final lap of this race. Matt has the DRS. He doesn't have any ERS left, completely drained out. Hype still on the P1, but he has the DRS of his botted teammate, and now they will probably go side by side into turn 4. No, they don't actually. Matt tries to switch back on Hype. He has a good exit of it, but Hype is still managing to be ahead of Matt. Tur had a perfect view of these two fighting. Probably we weren't focusing on him. Matt still fighting with Hybe. Now, on the back straight, can Matt overtake Hybe with the help of the DRS? Hybe doesn't use any of his ERS, so he probably knows that he's not gonna overtake him here. Lerisi 3 seconds, but we don't really care about that. Hybe, if he somehow gets this penalty removed, and I really hope that he does, because it will be his first win of the season, probably, as Matt is too far back to even think about diving it into turn 14, as now Hype crosses the line to win the Bahrain, well actually Matt to win, but Hype was on track, the first driver to cross the line. Reggie finished P4, Tur finished P2, but I don't know if Hype's penalty is going to be removed. But if it's not going to get removed, then Matt is P1, Tur P2, Hype P3, Reggie P4 after his spin out of turn 4, being so desperate to get on the power as early as possible. Jovi P5, Luke P6, Graffiti to the points in the Williams. Some decent points in as he is P7. Behind him there is, I think, a Haas of Diego. Well, let's see the standings. Can this load a bit faster that we can see the results? Come on. But yeah, actually it was Webster who was P8, Niklas P9 with his points on the debut, and Diego finishes the top 10 with 1 point, so 3 points for Haas, decent, but it doesn't help them with that Gravity got 6 points for the Williams team. Lewis 11th, Laziri 12th. I don't know why was it the driver of today given to Larisia, since Gravity from 20th he's now 7th. Larisia has only gained 7 positions as Gravity gained 13. But Larisia 12th, Shazza 13th after being spun even just before the restart, maybe by Larisia, I don't know. Noise P14, Bobby 15th, High 16th, Pete 17th, Stack 18th, Jogger 19th, and Patino 20th. AlphaTauri having the nightmare of a weekend for them, qualifying only 15th and 17th, and DNFing. Well, Stag had some kind of a glitch that he was stuck in the in the pits. He just couldn't move. So he retired, and Jogger being caught up in some kind of an incident. I think between him and Patino, maybe, I don't know. But if Hype's penalty doesn't get removed, then Matt what has won the Bahrain Grand Prix, third P2, and Hype finishing the top three. Well, if he doesn't get the penalty removed, then it's at least a podium. At least a podium, which probably it's not gonna be. He won't think that it's enough since he had such a good pace and just the opportunity. Wait, why is this not even going? Like, um, where are we not even going? um, but well, I don't have anything else to say. If we're not gonna go in back into the main lobby, then I guess I can just end the stream here. So um, this was me, the Wasserm, the commentator, and see you guys next week in